If you're open to it, then in this video, I'm going to push you to think a little bit differently about pickleball from a strategic standpoint. Hello, my name is Tony Roig, and coaching players just like you is what I do. The match we're watching is a 2023 Nationals match in the Senior Pro Mixed Division. It's a third round backdraw match against myself in the green and Karina De Vera as my partner against Johan Svensson and the always awesome Stephanie Lane. As we look at the next rally, focus on the team with their back to the camera. That's myself and my partner Karina. And look at what I do here and ask yourself, is this something that you think should be done? Now that you've had a chance to watch the rally, make a note of your initial reaction. And let me know in the comments below, what did you think about my move here? Was my strategy sound? Now that you've made a note of your initial reaction, or let me know in the comments below, put it aside. Allow me to make the case, and let's see if there's an argument for me having made this move. Whenever you're trying to decide whether a strategy makes sense, the first thing is context. You need to ask yourself, does the strategy make sense in this situation? We are playing against Stephanie Lane and Johan Svensson. Stephanie and Johan are very good dinkers. They're very good grinders. Grinding is when you end up in one of those long dink rallies and the other team doesn't break down. They're very good at that. And Stephanie Lane is one of the best non-volley zone lobbers in the game. So we were in a situation where we were playing against two very good grinders and also a player who has a very effective lob. I'm going to run these two rallies for you again so you can clearly see it. In the first rally, there's a grinding match happening between Karina and Johan first. And then when Stephanie gets involved, there's a lob that puts us in an awkward position, and Stephanie and Johan end up with a clean winner. The second time, even though we're able to dissuade Stephanie from the lob because I moved back in a situation where it looked like she was going to lob, we end up in a grind situation and we end up hitting the dink out wide. Whenever you're in a game time situation against two players who are very good at a certain type of game, and Johan and Stephanie are very good at the soft game, it's important to think about whether you want to stay in that game with them or want to try and switch things up. So argument number one for trying something different, including the type of move that I showed you earlier, is given the context that we were playing in. We were playing a team that wants to play a grinding, soft game sort of game, and we're trying to switch it up. A second argument in favor of trying something different is when you find that you or your partner are being effectively put into a jail cell. What I mean by a jail cell is whenever there's a spot on the court that your opponents keep on hammering, they keep on hitting that spot again and again and again, effectively tying your team's hands, right? Putting you in jail, so to speak. How do you break out of that situation once you're already put in jail? As you can see from these rallies, once we're all four up at the non-volley zone line in a dink contest, I am no longer able to be of assistance to my partner. What I mean by that is you end up in a 2 versus 1 situation where you have two players, Johan and Stephanie, playing against one player, Karina, and I am effectively iced out of that situation. In any double situation, when you have one partner who's being completely iced out, you need to start thinking about how can we break this situation up? How can we release my partner from the jail cell that they're being put in and isolated in that jail cell? What can we do differently to break it up? This is particularly true when you're playing against opponents who can bide their time and wait for that perfect spot to basically attack you or to pick you apart. The attack that Johan and Stephanie prefer is a lob by Stephanie over Karina whenever she gets the opportunity to do that. Other than that, Johan is simply going to dink cross-court with Karina until the cows come home, so to speak. So what we're waiting for is Stephanie to spring her trap on a lob. I can shift back and forth to try and dissuade her from the lob, but I have to be careful because then I open up a cross-court dink to my backhand, aggressively potentially beating me on that side. So it's a cat and mouse, but we're basically playing on our heels where we're waiting for Stephanie to lob over Karina, and then I have to go hopefully retrieve it. Sometimes I can retrieve it. But other times I cannot. So we are essentially playing on our heels, waiting for our opponents to be the protagonists to take action, and we're simply reacting. While there are times when you simply have to react to what your opponents do, more often than not, the team who's the protagonist, the team that's dictating the tempo and the pace of the game, is the team that's going to come out on top. So the first step in this process is the context. Who are we playing against, and what are their tendencies? What do they like to do? And then the second thing that we have to deal with is how's it going for us when we end up in a freeze-out grind situation, 2 against 1, where Johan and Stephanie are grinding out the rallies against Karina. Is that the best strategy for our team, or should we look for something else to change things up? If you're enjoying this game analysis, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button down below. You'll be notified of future content just like this. Actionable content to help your game is what we're all about. Now that we're at argument number 3, the question is, if we want to be the protagonist in this game, if we want to dictate pace and tempo, what can we do differently? One option is to allow the other player to insert themselves into the rally. In this game, it happens to be me. In this mixed doubles match, it happens to be me who needs to insert himself into the rally a little bit more in order to change the dynamics that we're facing. When we're playing on the serve side, as we are in these rallies, there are 2 times where I can insert myself into the rally realistically. The first one is on the third shot. I can move towards the middle and take the third shot like I do here. The other opportunity where I can insert myself is on the 5th shot. In these cases, Karina is going to hit the 3rd shot. I can then move forward and put pressure on the 5th shot, trying to squeeze the space as much as possible. Sometimes this strategy works. And sometimes it does not. Now that you have a better understanding of the context of this game, including our opponents, their strengths, and the strategies that they wanted to bring to bear during this game, as well as our desire to be the protagonist, right? Our desire to dictate the tempo and the pace of the game, hopefully you have a better understanding of why I decided to poach in this situation. Let me know in the comments below, did I make the case for the poach or not? One of the great things about pickleball is the challenge it provides us to think through the game, to try and solve that puzzle, figure out what strategies are going to give us the best chance to win. Not guarantee us to win, because there is no guarantee that we can win a game, but they'll give us the best chance to win. As you play, think of the context in which you're playing, think of what's going on in your court, and figure out the best strategy for your game. I'll see you in the next video.